Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. So in today's video, it is in collaboration with an Instagram artist known as the Lavender Dragon. She contacted me and wanted to do a collaboration for Valentine's Day. I said yes, of course. She is a photographer and also an AI artist, and there is a little bit of a hot topic and a debate about AI art coming into the scene. Now, I do understand, having been a photographer for over 15 years, from moving from film to digital, it was a little bit stressful, and I had concerns that people were now able to bypass some of the school and some of the practice because digital photography made it a little bit easier to make exposures and get rid of them and just do over and do over and do over, versus when you were in film, you had to get it right the first time because you had a limited amount of exposures in the reel. So I think a lot of concerns, the artists that are using, oil to canvas, handcrafting, and the pen on paper. I do understand your concerns, but I do think there's also a new generation that needs to be captured into art itself. And I always welcome something like that. If it's going to spark interest and get people interested in art as a whole, I think they would seek out other mediums and the people that came before them, those that are famous, those that hit the mark and are known for the craft. I think it allows people to experience and it gives them a little bit of drive to see who came before them. So I don't think that anyone is going to spend all their time going, let me just buy AI art because it is the cheapest. There's always going to be someone that appreciates, someone that takes materials into their hands, who has worked hard, who has honed their craft, and who could come up with something based upon a client's needs. I don't think that's ever going to go away. So you tell me where you sit on this debate. How do you feel about AI artistry? And let me know in the comments below. Let's have a conversation about it. So sit back and let's just get into the footage. To make my prosthetic headpiece for this look, I am sculpting with liquid latex that is clear dry onto a face cast. I applied several different layers, placed my hearts into the position I wanted them to be, and covered it with about 2 more coats of liquid latex. I made these hearts out of polymer plastic, and if you'd like to learn how to sculpt with polymer plastic, you can find this link above. I am using silicone to secure the rest of this look. I want a smooth transition and I want a really nice skin-like texture. And I measure part A and part B, and I mix part A into B with a couple drops of thickener. Now you can do this and you have exact measurements, but it's 1-to-1. I just eyeball it and count the seconds that I squeeze the silicone mixture into the cups. I apply another layer of liquid latex and use a hairdryer to get it tacky quicker. And I go through and I place and build up the silicone around the hearts of this look. Eventually I'm going to cut through these hearts to make them look like they are protruding out of the skin. Once my silicone is built up and into place, I take my finger and some olive oil and I press and smooth out the area of the silicone. This will give it a more of a smooth skin-like texture. I let my prosthetic dry overnight and it's time to remove it. I use all-purpose flour and a brush, and I lift gently and I push that flour up underneath to remove it, and it takes care of it being tacky. Be mindful not to let your edges get away from you because they will stick on themselves. And that happened to me in a few areas around the top of the forehead and around the sides of the face. Just be careful to make sure you get everything floured and make sure the tackiness goes away. And after you remove it, go back over to the front and the back with more flour. I am using Vaseline to protect my natural hairline and my eyebrows. I'm using Pros-Aide and a layer upon the forehead as well as the prosthetic itself. Tapping it to make sure it's tacky, and I start by placing the prosthetic at the bottom and pushing it up and out toward the edges. I am using Pros-Aide and 99% alcohol to blend out my edges and push those into the skin. And dealing with this prosthetic, I had realized that I had to cut it back a pretty good bit. I created this face cast about 4 years ago, and I have lost a significant amount of weight. And so I had to go in with cotton and Pros-Aide and build up around the edges, because once I cut this to fit my face, I had harsh lines. It is a quick fix. It's not what I would normally prefer, but it works, and it is something that you can do in a pinch. But I did realize that the next thing I'm going to have to do is create a new face cast, so get ready for that next tutorial. That will be the next one that I will do. Once I go through and I blend those edges again with 99% alcohol and Pros-Aide, it's time for the eye makeup using an eyeshadow primer. I powder that in to secure it and lock it, and I go through and I use a face primer. This one's by Wet n Wild, and I used about 4 eyeshadow palettes for this look today, and this look requires a heavy, very saturated eyeshadow starting at the brow bone. And here I take a bright pink and I butt that in from the inner corner out toward the tail of the eyebrow. I continue to layer this look, making sure that each color I pick is darker than the other, and I carry this all the way down onto the lid with the darkest color that's in this color scheme. I am using 2 indie brand palettes as well as 2 color pop palettes, and I will link those in the description below. Using water-based eyeliners, I create the design to pop against the dark transition color, so that's where I place this line. I go into the inner corner and I stop that line where the eyebrows arch. That is a guide I'm using for this look, and I place a heart against that line, and I continue to carry that line on the other side of the heart in a sweep on the outer corner of the eyelid. The best tip I had for you, if you're using water-based eyeliners for looks, you need to keep your brush saturated. That's why you see me dip in constantly after each use of the brush. I prefer water-based eyeliners when I'm painting on a design because they do clean up pretty easy against eyeshadow. You go in with a Q-tip and a little bit of water and you will not lose the color that's on your eyeshadow. Applying my foundation with a dampened beauty blender, I make sure to cover the prosthetic piece as well so that it matches. And in order to lock this into place, I take another dampened beauty blender and I press the powder all over the skin. To complete my eyeshadow look, I carry that color up underneath the eye. And for the inner corner, I take and press my finger into a highlighter and tap that into the corners of the eye. I contour my cheekbones and the side of my nose to be real slender. I'm going for a look that makes your eye float to the eyeshadow and up to the hearts. So I make my nose smaller by placing more shadow on the edge on the outside, and I carry the rest of the contour up into the hairline to make it darker. And I'm going for a monochromatic look, so I also take my contouring in the color pink and get that placed down into the areas that I've already contoured. My concept for this look today was that I did not want to overdo the special effects look of Valentine's Day or anti-Valentine's Day, where people carve hearts into the skin as a wound and they make it bloody. I thought about love in general and how it comes from within. Whether you are in love, people say that you look happy, that you glow, and then also with heartache, it comes from within, and you wear your emotions sometimes on your sleeve. And so those were my ideas to come up with this makeup to make it a little bit different, a little bit more unique. I used red eyeshadow in my eyebrows, and I went through and I used pink highlighter around the high structures of the face against the contouring. Now here I am taking that contour palette again, and I am darkening the edges to make those hearts look like they are protruding more from the skin that is pressing up against it. Using a pair of scissors, I cut into this silicone to make it look like the hearts are coming out of the skin. So in certain areas at the bottom and a couple areas at the top, I still want more of these hearts to be up under the skin. This will give it that busting through effect look, and with tweezers I push and pull that silicone off these hearts so you can see the pink coming through. And for bruising and irritation, I'm using my alcohol palette, and I tap in Old Age Blood along with the blue tone. I continue to use my Age Blood, and I tap that up under the silicone as well as on the outer edges of the what I'm going to call skin from now on, and it just gives it that older look, because I do not want to use store-bought or homemade blood for this. The blood I'm using for this look today is going to be all lip gloss. Tapping the color around this prosthetic piece will blend your harsh lines. And you see I paint with a brush and I tap with my finger just to make those colors bleed out into the silicone. I am using red gemstones with eyelash glue, and I place on the outer corner, the inner corner, and up under the arch of the eyebrow. My tool is a pencil with a tip that's been built up with wax from a candle. I am using 3-dimensional eyelashes today. For the lips, I am using a matte liquid lipstick where I outline the cupid's bow on the lip and I go past the natural line. And for the blood part on this lip, I am using a lipstick from Juvia's Place. I take a brush and I tap that into the product, and I go through the top and I bleed this down. I cover the top with the cupid's bow, and then from the lipstick that's actually sitting there, I push that down into a couple of blood droplets, and I do the same thing for the bottom portion of the lip, where I carry and saturate the top portion inside the bottom of the lip, and I pull that down into drops of blood. Using the same liquid lipstick, I carry this up into the hearts to place blood down around the edges and the peeled back layers of silicone. Here is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial today. Please give me a thumbs up. If you like this video, it lets me know if I'm doing a good job. And if there's anybody out there you think I should collaborate with, please let them know. Let me know. I would love to do some more projects like this. It's very fun. I do enjoy you being here with me today. If you'd like to find me on Instagram and Twitter, those links are below. So, are you celebrating Valentine's Day? Are you for Valentine's Day? Do you love this holiday? Or are you anti-Valentine's Day? Please let me know, and do not forget to check out the Lavender Dragon on Instagram. She'll be posting her own look as well as mine. And thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.